Brilliant, thank you. So as we've seen from previous presentation, ChatGPT is great as it helps us to conceptualize information and basically optimize it into a very small amount of explanation that can be interpreted very easily. So for example, this is great because it saves us time, as we don't have to search through a bunch of search results through Google. We don't have to go through lots of web pages. And it's also great because it gives us workable examples. So you can ask it about a concept, and then it'll say, you can ask, oh, give me an example of this applying this specific piece of information, and it will do that just for you. So in that aspect, it's great for students because it will allow them to get their head around more complex topics. So in theory, it could be thought of as sort of like a personal tutor, like that you're actually talking to someone who has an in-depth knowledge about a subject. However, there are some problems with ChatGPT, and so this is what we will explore now. So first of all, it does get some things wrong. So this is problematic because we expect the chatbot to be correct all the time. And that's because when we type our answer into the chat box, we just get one definitive answer, and that we just take that as fact. We don't really question it, unlike on Google where you're searching through different answers and you're thinking, this could be right, this could be wrong. So therefore, we just take what it says as truth. So we can see this example here where we've asked it, okay, what color are the Royal Marines from the wars a while ago? And as we all know, these are the uniforms are the color of red. So, you know, like the Queen's Guards, they have red uniforms. But we can see the answer here. It says they've actually wore dark blue uniforms. So although this is a very simple question, it's managed to actually get this wrong. And so I'll move on now to Tom, how we've aimed to explore this further.
So we evaluated ChatGPT in a very technical way that was in line with more an offensive cyber technique, but the general concept was still the same. We gave it a set of prompts and we classified the usefulness for a given prompt against 3 criteria. It completely worked as intended and actually gave us the correct information. It was generally correct, and what we mean by that is it had some good information in general, but it contained some things that were either irrelevant or wrong. And number 3 was it spat out something completely irrelevant, or it didn't work as intended. And we did this by comparing the material that ChatGPT gave us against a trusted source. And the trusted sources we used in this case was scholarly materials, whether this be research journals, or whether it simply be trusted sources of information such as documentation for programs.
Basically peer-reviewed stuff.
Anything that's been peer-reviewed, checked many times. And what we found is that it's generally really, really good. Anything the surface level. Questions with a single answer, it works well. And if I compare this to this answer here, this is looking at a SQL injection attack, which is a type of cybersecurity attack that if you put a certain string into a text box, it will go and it could either authenticate you as a user you shouldn't be allowed to be, or it can do things that are unintended. For this, there is a very simple method which ChatGPT outlines, and that's where it generally works well. Where it doesn't work well is when you ask the why. And the why is what we can see here. Now, I have to put an asterisk here. This was purely for cyber research purposes. We do not encourage using ChatGPT to help you perform cyber attacks. And we do not take any responsibility if you go and do that, because this doesn't include a string that shows you that we did manage to exploit it. But this command didn't quite work. And the reason why is because it didn't appreciate a level of data that we wanted, like the level of attack we wanted to do. In cybersecurity, you can be really quiet and be really slow, or you can be really obvious and say, I'm trying to attack you.
So basically like Rambo or James Bond.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
This doesn't appreciate that and actually forgets to talk about that completely until I asked it another follow-up prompt. But it's still really, really confident in its answer and is mostly correct. Yeah. And if you didn't know that, you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So if we were to take this more broadly, ChatGPT could answer what color is the sky? The sky is blue, it has one answer, but it can't answer why most of the time. And Jack will talk about why. Actually, no,
yeah. So we've given you some problems to ChatGPT, but why should you actually care about them? So firstly, as Tom just said, when ChatGPT gives you an answer, it encourages trust, and that is through its confidence. So as we've seen, and actually we can look at this example here. So if we look to the left, the second item is actually incorrect. However, it's sort of put in with some other correct piece of information, which means it's very difficult to decipher what's right and what's wrong. So again, people will just take it as truth. Again, we can see this funny example to the right here, where we've asked it, okay, so what animal has the same scientific name as it does its common name? And it said, okay, chimpanzee. So apparently the English name of chimpanzee is same as Pan trigeculates.
Yeah, we'll go
whatever that is. Obviously they don't sound the same or look the same at all. So this is quite bad because it will spread misinformation. As a student, you have no sort of thing to fall back on. You have nothing to cross-check it with if you're just using ChatGPT by itself, causing students to possibly create their base knowledge on incorrect information. So what does this actually mean then? So we can't trust ChatGPT due to a few different reasons. Firstly, it's variable responses. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. Different people get different answers just depending on where you are, what time it is, or even if they've updated the models. Model updates can change the outputs. We've also covered it's difficult to distinguish fact from truth. And another problem is that it doesn't actually show you what sources it gets it from, unlike in Google, where you can click, for example, medium.com, you know it's from medium.com, and you can have your own risk factor of how trustful that is. So the reason I have been saying Google so much is because we have agreed that ChatGPT is quite similar to Google. And so this brings me to the main point of the whole entire presentation, is that you should use ChatGPT as you would use Google. Because if we think about it, ChatGPT uses the same information. So ChatGPT and Google uses the same information. They just present it in a different way. Therefore, you should give it the exact same amount of skepticism when you are working with the information you're getting it from. So maybe some better uses for ChatGPT would be to generate some custom templates for something, or maybe you want to distribute some work over groups, so you want to sort of figure out the best way to do that. But what it's not good for, what we found, is for information, is for research. And I mean, the same could be argued for Google. If you use Google by itself, it's not great for research. So yeah.
So if you look at this original example now, it doesn't look so bad. And the reason why is because you're looking at it from the scope of, oh, this information might not be correct. I might need to go and fact check this. But so it comes back again. Why is it important that this information is fact checked? I think, and this ties into how we can split ChatGPT for teachers and for students. For teachers, you now have the ability to generate material on a surface level that is going to be on the whole correct. That you can read, you have that knowledge base
to cross-check it.
For students, ChatGPT would be much better at getting an understanding of the problem, not answering the problem, but understanding it.
Yeah.
And this ties back to another webinar, actually, I think happened last time, where it was talked through, actually a member of our university talked about this, called the KSA framework.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT can give you the base knowledge, but it can't teach you skills and it can't teach you ability, because that requires lower level knowledge, understanding the nuances of what you're doing. So to that end, use ChatGPT like Google.
Yeah.
Just with that enhanced skepticism, because you will be able to generate quicker, better quality work, and you'll be able to learn more efficiently.
Yeah.
But what you won't be able to do is use it to copy from and therefore have outstanding quality work. It just won't be able to do that because of its limitations of how it's trained.
Yeah. So when you are learning, when you're researching, everyone has their own level of risk, don't they? When they're on Google, people take Wikipedia, some people take peer-reviewed journals. So if you're happy to take the risk of using ChatGPT to learn, then that's amazing. But if you're a researcher or a teacher, then it's a lot better to use ChatGPT alongside other resources so you can cross-check it. That's pretty much good advice for any researcher. So yeah, that's our presentation. I hope you took something from it, mainly that you should use ChatGPT with a bit of skepticism, just like you use Google.
Thank you so much, both of you. That was an amazing presentation again.